Okay. We're going to appeal to a completely different demographic in two different ways today. This is going to be something I'm going to be doing from now on. And I'm sure WWE fans are going to be like, oh, and why is Impact sharing with us? And I'm sure TNA fans will be like, oh, and why is NXT sharing with us? Well, because of the fact that I don't have access to Ring of Honor, I have not yet watched Lucha Underground, and yes, I still haven't seen Wrestle Kingdom 9 yet. This is the product, the two shows I'm talking about today, that I actually enjoy watching right now. I've been very sour on the WWE for a while, and I tried to gut it out, and eventually I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a break. And when Celebrity Apprentice got announced to go to Mondays, I know that's not going to appeal to a lot of wrestling fans, but there's some crossover, not much, probably a little bit. I will state that I made this decision to step away from Raw and SmackDown for a while. I'm not going to talk about WWE unless it's a pay-per-view. So I will be doing a Royal Rumble recap, but I'm not going to be talking about the Raw after or anything like that. TNA is back on a new network called Destination America, which apparently is a subsidiary of the Discovery Channel. And I know a lot of you out there may not have it, but hopefully you guys out there have seen it. So that's where we are now. And here on Tuesday morning, because I'm shooting this video early, because I have to work all day Wednesday, so I have to film the vlog of randomness when I get off work tonight, because I work till 5. As of Tuesday morning, I am now putting NXT and Impact together. But don't worry. If you're a WWE fan watching this for NXT, or just an NXT fan, I'll have it time-stamped to when the review starts. It may not be until later, but it'll still be there. And if you're a TNA fan, you have to basically fast-forward through the NXT stuff to get to Impact. Are we clear? Awesome. Now we're on the same page. Let's talk about this week's edition of NXT, this past week's edition of NXT. And NXT moved to a new night and time. It's going to be at 8 o'clock on Wednesday. So tomorrow will be the first edition of NXT. And Impact started on Thursday. This past Thursday, it's going to Friday on Destination America. So, yeah, that's kind of cool. Everything's moving, like SmackDown's moving to Thursdays. I don't care. Raw doesn't really matter. But 9 o'clock to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Friday is TNA on Destination America. Let's talk NXT, shall we? So this show started out with Sami Zayn making his triumphant return after a brutal attack at the hands of his best friend Kevin Owens at the end of NXT TakeOver Our Evolution. That, I have to say over and over again, I was in attendance for. So he comes out with the NXT Championship, and of course the Olay chants hit right away. He leaves the ring, and he goes to the ringside crowd, and then he runs to the entire audience, and then he gets back in the ring to celebrate with the entire fan base. Fans are starting to chant, "You deserve it." Yes, he does. See, in my hands, it means that you have done it your way. You didn't really have to deal with any of the politics. You went out and did it yourself. All you have to do is to be better than anyone else, is what Sami Zayn is saying. And the championship is the proof right there. This NXT championship isn't his. It belongs to everyone. It's ours. He says he's in a band. And apparently Sami Zayn must be a closet Wayne Newton fan, because he calls his band the Zaniacs. And he says, him and his Zaniacs, everyone here makes the music. So we go from Wayne Newton to Barry Manilow. How appropriate. Because apparently he writes the song that the whole world sing, and that'd be the Olay chant that, of course, is from his Bouncing Soul song that has followed him throughout his entire career, back when he was El Generico to this day where he's Sami Zayn. Even though WWE is trying to manufacture an Olay chant for the Los Matadores, which is not working, Sami Zayn, it actually makes sense for, because it's actually something he's had follow him throughout his entire career. He loves the Olay song. He says, NXT TakeOver Revolution should have been the best night of his career, and in some ways it was. Obviously, he finally won the big one. He finally became NXT champion. But of course, the night had to end in a tragic manner when Kevin Owens, someone he thought was his best friend, came out and embraced him. There was blood, sweat, and tears, literally blood, because obviously CJ Parker broke Kevin Owens' nose. I almost called him Kevin Steen again. And, that's why, of course, the blood, sweat, and tears made perfect sense. And they hugged, and it was a real moment, a true moment. But he killed it. He killed it by, of course, powerbombing him on the ring apron. And he hurt him. He hurt him bad. But the fact remains, he did not do what he intended to do, and that is end Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is right here, and he wants to fight. He's ready to defend the championship anytime, any place, anywhere. Cue Adrian Neville. The former NXT champion comes out and says, sorry to interrupt, but I needed to say this, and this is the first time I've had a chance to say this to you face to face. We went to war at TakeOver, and you were the better man. Congratulations on becoming the champion. Last time we had a battle, I saw Sammy the champion. They shake hands, everything's all awesome and everything, and Sammy's like, you know what, I may not know much, but I do know that you're entitled to a rematch. And they're setting up Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville as a rematch, and of course, this cannot get announced officially until someone from management makes it clear, so that, of course, brings out William Regal. And Regal comes out and he basically gets a nice chant from the Full Sail crowd, and he's like, no, this isn't about me, this is about both of them. He wants to thank both of them for the match at TakeOver. What they did in that ring was something short of spectacular. And Neville is due a rematch. So next week, as in tomorrow, in the official debut on the WWE Network for NXT on Wednesday night at 8 p.m., you will get the rematch, Sami Zayn versus Adrian Neville. So, looking forward to that. Should be really fun. Like I said, Neville and Zayn, a really good back and forth match. They had a TakeOver. I love that match. Love watching it live. The atmosphere, like I said, when Sami Zayn hit the haluva kick and got the 3 count, I've never heard a louder reaction. And I've been at the Pittsburgh Civic Arena, and I've been at the Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio. I've been at the Impact Zone. I have been at the Charleston Civic Center. Granted, these are not major places, but I mean, I've been there for major events. Like Pittsburgh was SummerSlam 95, and Charleston was Sold Out 99, and I was in Dayton, Ohio at the Hara Arena for ECW Heatwave 99. So, needless to say, I've been a part of some big crowds, but I've never heard a louder reaction than when Sami Zayn won the NXT Championship. Maybe it's just the small enclosed space of Full Sail University, but it doesn't matter. It's still an awesome reaction, to say the least. So the Vaudevillains come out. They're doing their black and white promos, and basically Simon Gotch this whole time is doing squats, and Aiden English is talking for the team, just like always. He says they have an opportunity to show the universe why they deserve to be the NXT Tag Team Champions tonight, and why simply they are so manly. So yes, I love the Vaudevillains in every way possible. After tonight, I'm not exactly sure if they have ended their run for going after the tag team championships or not. It looks like they might have, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So Curtis Axel shows up last week, and he's trying to rejuvenate his career. He's now back in NXT, and he wants to make a statement. Obviously, he's trying to get back to the main roster, and right now, the way that a lot of us think right now, a lot of fans think right now, that going down to NXT is certainly not a demotion. It's actually a great thing, because actually you can change your career around, and maybe you can be ready for the WWE. But then again, they're trying to not play as two separate brands, but they are two separate brands. Regardless if WWE wants to tell you that, they are two separate brands. They're not necessarily in the same universe. Don't forget, in our universe, Connor and Victor don't wear stupid face paint. So they still squash teams, but they don't wear stupid face paint. So Hideo Itami is put in the way of Curtis Axel, and that is your first match of the evening. This match was really good. Short match, television match. Basically, Itami breaks out his Tornado Hot Shot that he debuted last week, And the tag team match with him and Finn Balor against the Ascension, I love it. It's a really awesome spot that you don't see anyone do. It's a tornado DDT. He grabs the top rope and he hot shots them throat first across the top rope. That's really useful. Goes to the top rope, hits the top rope clothesline, and then he does the 100-hand slaps and round kicks, and of course his spinning back kick. And he gets caught going for the Shining Wizard. Axel catches him going for the perfect plex. It gets countered into a corkscrew stiff kick, and Itami wins. Good match for what it was. Curtis Axel hopefully will start building up a fan base in NXT. Full Sail crowd can either take to you or they don't take to you. And sometimes this does not translate very well when you get to the WWE audiences, obviously, because you have two separate audiences. Because there are people that are talking about what they're doing with the Ascension and what they're doing with Adam Rose and what they did with Bo Dallas. I mean, these are things that really just didn't work very well. The Ascension, who knows what's going to happen with them. Obviously, we can talk about great things when it comes to The Shield. Obviously, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose have all done quite well since they've got brought up to the main roster in WWE. But like I said, this isn't about WWE, it's about NXT. So that's how we roll with that. And it was okay, good television match. It was fine, good way to start off the show. Nothing really behind it. It's basically Curtis Axel wanted to not necessarily make a point. He tried to make a point. He called him a punk. He slapped him around. Of course, he ended up getting slapped down for it. So that worked. So Byron Saxton's in the back, and he's trying to talk to Tyson Kidd because Tyson Kidd has a big match next week against Finn Balor, that next week being tomorrow. And, of course, he has his Beats by Dre headphones on, and that means that he doesn't want to talk. So Byron starts talking to Natty. And then TJ sees this and goes, no, you ain't taking my TV time. So he's like, I thought you wanted to talk to me, and then tries to tell Natty about his cats, and they start having a fight over their cats, and then when she bombs out to look at the cats, TJ goes, yeah, they're my cats. Anyway, I'm not looking past Finn Balor, but I'm looking past Finn Balor. You see, I'm going to become the face of NXT, and I'm going to become the next Sarah McLachlan, become the next face of the SPCA, which kind of made me laugh, because I love these kitty things they're doing. I really wish I could watch this Tyson Kidd Cesaro team that they've got working on WWE programming right now, but like I said, I kind of going away from WWE for a while, at least till The Apprentice is over, so there's that. He says he's a humanitarian, he's a man of the animals, especially cats. But not Grumpy Cat. Because obviously Grumpy Cat gave him the cold shoulder when he was hosting Raw. Yeah. I like Tyson Kidd a lot. I really do. I think the match against Finn Balor is going to be awesome. Because he can definitely go. Cut out the cat gimmick aside. I mean, it's fine. It's not really a gimmick. This is Tyson Kidd's way of life. He loves his cats. And I understand because I'm a cat lover myself. But I love the kitty kick pads I talk about every single week. That Noelle Foley loves so much. And I love the fact that you have this new team with Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. I love the fact that he wears cat gear. It's awesome. Really funny. The New Age Battle Cat, Tyson Kidd. So, yeah, all he's missing is a hood at this point. So, of course, we get a nice video package on the feud. The Irresistible Force meeting the Immovable Object, to steal a line from the late, great Gorilla Monsoon. The feud between Bull Dempsey and Baron Corbin, and it's finally going to come to a head in the ring. Finally going to get a singles match between these two tomorrow night on the NXT Wednesday night debut, and that's made an announcement. Of course, the announcement of Tyson Kidd and Finn Balor has made an announcement, and it is official. Sami Zayn, Adrian Neville for the NXT Championship, all tomorrow night, all on the network, NXT, 8 o'clock. So, we get a match with Sasha Banks taking on Alexa Bliss. I think Alexa Bliss is adorable, and I really hope they do something with her. Once Charlotte leaves the company, I think that Alexa Bliss and Bayley will be the top baby faces of the NXT roster, and I think that's going to be fun. Obviously, I'm not talking about Charlotte leaving the company. I'm talking about Charlotte leaving NXT and brought up to the main roster. I think that Alexa Bliss has a big upside, and they're not really doing enough with her. This is the first time we've seen Alexa Bliss in the ring since Sasha Banks broke her nose on NXT quite a while back. So this match starts off with Alexa Bliss basically going after Sasha and taking full advantage, but she ends up getting caught. going for a Pixie Hollow, which of course is the satellite into a small package, but she gets a side backbreaker for it. Later on in the match, she goes for a scoop slam, and Alexa Bliss reverses into a small package, gets a 2 off of that, and crucifix roll up 1-2 and a kick out. And then eventually she gets finished off with the bank statement. The backstabbing bank statement, because obviously the bank statement would be the crossface, I guess you would say. The backstabber into the bank statement. Like I call it the BBS, the backstabbing bank statement. And Sasha Banks wins. Of course, she celebrates with Becky Lynch. And it sounds like we're leading towards a tag match with Natalya and Charlotte against Team BAE. So, yeah, Team BAE. So, yeah. We get a return of Tyler Breeze. Of course, he's been looking at real estate, apparently, and he's now going to be facing off against a newcomer on the NXT roster, and that is Chad Gable. He is a former Minnesota high school wrestling champion, and he's got the collegiate, wrestling singlet. I mean, I just watched Foxcatcher, so obviously this gimmick fits with me. Wrestling a whole lot like Charlie Haas did with the World's Greatest Tag Team. And Shelton Benjamin, too, or Shelton X Benjamin, depending on what you're watching here. Gable goes on charge early. He basically starts taking down Tyler Breeze, starts working him over, really giving him a nice wrestling clinic. But he ends up getting caught, and Breeze ends up locking on a chin lock, but he bridges out of it. And Gable elbows out, and he does a step over on the arm and drives all his weight on the arm of Tyler Breeze, trying to basically get him softened up for, I'm guessing, some sort of an armbar finisher. And he locks on a Kata Hajime in the, not Kata, a Juji Gatami, sorry. Kata Hajime, forgot. So a Juji Gatami or a cross arm breaker, depending on who's calling your match, in the ropes, and Tyler shakes it off, and when he gets back to his feet, he just drills him with the beauty shot and gets the 3 count off of that. After the match is over, there is a footage that at the top of the arena you see who appears to be Marcus Louis watching Tyler Breeze's match, creepily. So don't forget that when Marcus Louis got his head shaved, one of the first people that actually said anything to him was Tyler Breeze. He called him the King of the Uggos, basically. And I don't think he's forgotten that. And I think that he's kind of playing off that Steve Buscemi and Billy Madison gimmick. You know, when Adam Sandler, after Buscemi saves the day, he's like, I'm really glad I called that guy. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking they're doing with Marcus Louis. I think it'd be interesting to see this feud start to happen and unfold in 2015. Should be fun. Should be an interesting feud. I wanted to make him a soccer hooligan. I guess it was just the fact that the Nigel McGuinness, Desmond Wolfe character in TNA looked a lot more like that, and they kind of went with it, but they didn't. But yeah, like I said, I mean, Marcus Louis kind of looks a little bit like Vinnie Jones. Apparently something fell behind me. Oh, well. So, yeah, that's what we're looking at right now. And Marcus Louis, Tyler Breeze feud. They didn't really mention that it was Marcus Louis, but it was. So, I'm guessing they're going to start talking about that sooner rather than later. We get a promo from Finn Balor. He says Tyson needs more than 9 lives to survive against him. Fact. And then we get our main event. And our main event is for the NXT Tag Team Championships. It is Kalisto and Sin Cara, the Lucha Dragons, defending against Full Sail favorites, Aiden English and Simon Gotch, the Vaudevillains. This match was good. Good television main event. Very much enjoyed this. And I like the finish of this match, actually. So we'll talk about it. And Gotch makes a save after the Sunset Bomb. Charges in. Kalisto pulls the top. And he goes over the top rope. Lands on the floor. So he gets shoved into a blind tag. So Kalisto is now official. So, a schoolboy on English by Sin Cara, and he hits the layout side powerbomb, which is basically Nova Sledge-O-Matic. And he comes off the top with a corkscrew, headbutt, neck breaker, forearm. I mean, there's a lot of things that could have happened. Honestly, it could have been a botched spot, to be totally honest. But, yeah, it just didn't work. The fact that Sin Cara apparently does not need to be doing head scissors takeovers because that doesn't work half the time. Totally botched it last week. Almost botched it this week. So, yeah, that's what we've got right now. That was your NXT edition for this week. Obviously, we're building towards a big night tomorrow night. Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville, one more time NXT Championship on the line. No Kevin Owens this week, but I'm sure he's going to make his presence known next week. And by next week, I mean tomorrow. I did like the fact that Curtis Axel is now in NXT. I think that's a very good opportunity for him, and I think that's going to be a nice rejuvenation of his career, a nice career-like jolt he needs right now, given the fact that there really wasn't anything else he could do on the main roster, so let him go to NXT and let him show what he can do there. Kind of like, once again, I bring this up every time, and it's a nice segue to the next part of the video, kind of like what Brodus Clay did when he had that short feud with Adrian Neville. I think that worked pretty well, and I think this will work pretty well as well. Hideo Itami, short singles match. He's starting to get his sea legs in NXT. That's fine. Sasha Banks beats Alexa Bliss, and like I said, we're building towards the tag match with Natalya and Charlotte. The different generations of Hart and Flair against the team of Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. I think that's no problem. We're building towards Bull and Corbin next week, so Bull Dempsey, Baron Corbin finally facing off next week. That's going to be fun. And Finn Balor and Tyson Kidd should be really entertaining, as it always is. Tyler Breeze returns, and this is the debut of Chad Gable, who actually shows a lot in this match, so it's going to be interesting to see more from him. And apparently Marcus Louis is now stalking Tyler Breeze. I have no issues with it. I think it's going to work quite well. Main event was really good. Full Sail's very split on the Lucha Dragons. I would have taken the titles off them at this point, and even if they made them a transitional champions, they're clear that they want to push new tag teams. We don't really have any right now. So the only thing you really can do at this point is put the titles on Aiden English and Simon Gotch, but you have to build them back up again, because obviously they've lost every time to the Lucha Dragons, so they don't really have any credibility against them right now. Then you have to change that. Or you have the Ascension, just take them down and then take the titles, and then you could take the titles off the Ascension in another way. I mean, there's a lot of directions you can go. I hope we see the Tyson Kidd Cesaro team in NXT. I think that would be great, because obviously Cesaro has a great pedigree when it comes to NXT. I think that should be fun. So yeah, that was NXT this week, and if you're having a chance to, whether you watch it on the network, you watch it on Daily Motion, you watch it on your internet, you watch it anyway, check out NXT tomorrow, 8 o'clock tomorrow night on the WWE Network, or any other way you need to check it out. NXT, the best television wrestling right now, without a doubt. So, 22 minutes in, let's talk Impact. So, this is a big show for TNA. It's their first show on Destination America. Brand new channel. The only thing I don't like is the big Destination America logo on the bottom of the screen. But then again, with cable, you kind of get used to that after a while. I guess it's the fact that it's such an eyesore. But, no worries. So, of course, this show starts out with a really slick video package. Obviously, we all know who's in charge of the video packages for TNA now, former WWE stars. Like, stars of their production team. So, when they left, they went to TNA. So, obviously, David Sahadi's in charge and everything, and it's really nice to see his work shine through again. So, we get, like, quick flashes of Bobby Lashley and Gail Kim and Bobby Roode, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, preparing for Lashley Roode 3 tonight. We see Ethan Carter III. You see Taryn Terrell, the Knockouts Champion. We see Austin Aries. We see Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards, the Wolves. We see Jeff Hardy. We see the Beautiful People, Samoa Joe, Kenny King, Mr. Anderson's there. You see Cowboy James Storm, Abyss and Abyss, obviously the TNA World Tag Team Champions, part of the Revolution. Rockstar Spud, Crazy Steve, MVP. This limo bus arrives. They're all there. They meet at the front of the Manhattan Center, and you have Bobby Roode and Bobby Lashley, the two Bobbies, staring head-to-head, face-to-face, and then the entire roster just starts beating the daylights out of each other, and it's awesome in every way possible. They fight throughout the building, and everybody's brawling. Finally, Kurt Angle comes out. Of course, he's still in charge, at least for now. And he says, security, security, this is New York. This is Impact Wrestling. So he calls out Low Ki, and he's going to be defending the X Division Championship. And then Taryn Terrell, she's going to defend the Knockouts Championship. Cowboy James Storm and Abyss, they're going to defend the World Tag Team Championships. And of course, the main event, Roode Lashley 3. So MVP gets in the ring. And he says, are you going to announce how you assaulted me? And of course, New York crowd let him know that he's number one. And he turns his back on Angle. He's like, nah, I didn't think so. Go ahead and hit me. Hit me now. You know what? You should have been fired when you put your hands on me. Last time you did that, I beat your ass. You're a shadow of what you used to be. I used to study you. In 1996, you were an Olympic gold medalist. 2005, you wear a suit and tie, and you got no balls. Kurt Angle, you're done. After all this brilliant promo from MVP, what happens? Angle goes, you're right. I did step over the line. And in turn, I stepped down as the directive, that's not even a word. Well, it is, but not in this situation. The executive director of TNA. And today, I was activated as a wrestler. So now, we're going to fight literally up next in a street fight. And that starts now. So Angle pops MVP and then clotheslines him over the top rope. And we get our first match. ECW style rolls right into the first match. And it is MVP and Kurt Angle in a street fight. This match was really good. I enjoyed it for what it was. A lot of really great wrestling in this match. It really didn't fit a street fight gimmick. But we're talking about the finish here. And Angle's going for the ankle lock. MVP rolls through. Angle goes chest and shoulder first into the middle turnbuckle. MVP goes for the Yakuza kick. He misses. Angle slam. 1, 2, 3. And Kurt Angle wins. So he gets his redemption on MVP in his return. The fact that Kurt Angle is now an active competitor, I'm very happy about, because obviously that means that Kurt Angle can now wrestle again. And a lot of people, a lot of the TNA haters out there that were thinking that Kurt Angle was only just coming out there and talking and he doesn't wrestle anymore. No, you know what? He's back on the main roster, and that works really well, and I think that's going to go over well for TNA in the long run. So Ethan Carter III, Tyrus, and Crazy Steve are there. I don't know why Crazy Steve there. He kind of gets pushed out of the frame here. He says, for shame not to feature Ethan Carter III. He's going to dismantle Rockstar Spud, and he tells Tyrus, secure our target. So then we get our first glimpse of the new announced team of Impact Wrestling, and that is Josh Matthews and Taz. A great tandem. And I very much enjoy this in every way possible, because Matthews actually calls the spots, even though he actually didn't call as much as he normally did back in his WWE days. So hopefully he'll pick back up on that once we get into Friday for the next Impact, when TNA debuts on its new night and time, its regular night and time, Friday nights at 9 p.m. So, of course, we're going to put over Mike Tenay, and Mike Tenay has a new job now. He's going to be hosting a new show that starts on January 17th called Unlocked. And he had a conversation with Cowboy James Storm of the Revolution, and Storm says, if I can blind the great professor, then everyone else is smooth sailing. I'm here to collect. Sonata, Manic, and Abyss all have seen the light. I speak the truth to them. Long-term, James Storm says, they can keep their championships. They don't matter to the Revolution. They're here for blood. And he said, Mama should have warned you about me. I like the James Storm cult leader gimmick. I know a lot of people were comparing him to Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family. No, I like this a lot. I like both of them in different ways. I like what they did with James Storm and the fact that he's taking two people that really weren't doing anything and he's made them relevant again. And he took Abyss, who really hasn't been doing much of anything since the Joseph Park gimmick, and now they've completely changed him. And finally, they recognize, TNA is one company that recognizes continuity, because when it comes down to it, the Feast or Fired briefcase, when they cashed in and won the tag team championships that way, it was a thing of brilliance. It really was. And the continuity, talking about the feud with EC3 and Rockstar Spud, given the fact that Spud used to be the right-hand man to EC3, and now EC3 wants to make him pay for turning his back on him, and obviously Madam Dixie Carter. So, yeah, we have an interesting storyline progression with those feuds right now. So we get our first match of the evening. It is the Revolution of Cowboy James Storm and the Monster Abyss taking on Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards of the Wolves. Match for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. The Wolves are defending. I enjoyed this match. Really good, fast-paced, back-and-forth action. I very much enjoyed every bit of it, to be totally honest. I like the Wolves a lot. I really like James Storm a lot, and I like Abyss a lot. Nice guy. Actually, it's weird. I've worked with 2 of the 4 guys in this match. Obviously, we're not talking about the Wolves that I've worked with. I worked with the Revolution. So, this match picks up when the Hardys come to ringside. And they're basically just going to stand there and scout all combatants in the match. Both teams involved. So, we get this really fast-paced finish. And we go into the end. Manic and Sonata try to get involved. And of course, the Hardys come in, side effect, twist of fate combo, take them out of the equation. Jeff grabs the bull rope of James Storm and ends up... It's interesting. He goes to nail, and Eddie Edwards gets caught with a back elbow from Hardy. Inadvertently, mind you. Of course, they're going to play that up, but inadvertently. And that leads to James Storm last call super kick, and we have a retention of the Tag Team Championship. Storm and Abyss retain. So, yeah, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this match, and of course, we're having a 3-way feud between these 3 teams. A very unlikely team with Storm and Abyss, but I actually think it works. I think it works quite well. I like the slingshot into the DDT. I like that spot. I think that works quite well. Obviously, it's an old beer money spot, so yeah, I thought that worked pretty well. We see video package for Rude Lashley 1, where, of course, the MDK finished off Bobby Roode, and Lashley won the TNA Championship. After this, we see Ethan Carter III is looking for someone, and that's all we get after that, so, okay, he's looking for someone. Sure. MVP browbeats Lashley in the locker room. He says, without me, there is no Lashley. Remember, I run this. I'm the person that got you this championship. And of course, Lashley takes not kind words to this and puts MVP against the wall. It's not about you. It's about me getting my championship back. So MVP and Kenny King leave, kind of dejected, but they're like, you know what? We're going to make you pay for this. Good luck getting your title back, champ. Something is brewing. So, Jeremy Borash is about to announce someone. Here comes EC3. He says, this is my year. What I say is truth. And of course, we get the you can't wrestle, I'm very good, you can't wrestle, I disagree, which I love so much. He says, I'm very good, fact, interesting. Unbeaten for nearly 15 months, fact. Stealing from Tyson Kidd, fact, yeah, I know, shut up. I become TNA champion, and good God, baby, without the woo, that's a fact. You can't wrestle, I'm very good, you can't wrestle, I disagree, and of course he just kind of trolls the crowd, which is fun. But I have unfinished business first, before I become the champion. And there's some feedback on the mic, but then again, they were having a lot of production issues at the Manhattan Center, using a lot of equipment that pretty much sucked, so hopefully, once they pick back up, get out of the Manhattan Center, and go back to the Manhattan Center, I think that they'll have new equipment. Obviously, the Manhattan Center will lead to the UK tour, and the UK tour will lead back to something that's coming up very soon. TNA's going back to Orlando. They're going back to the Universal, the Impact Center. Which makes me personally happy, because hopefully that means I'll see a TNA show, which also might make the Horror Nights fans unhappy, because that takes away one of those sound stages for a house this year. Or maybe not. It just depends on how you look at it. So, he says he promises to end Rockstar Spud. He calls him out, and he's like, you know what, I can have him out in a snap. So he snaps, and here comes Rockstar Spud being basically kicked down the ramp, courtesy of Tyrus. And he drags Spud to the ring. Spud tries to fight back, but Tyrus picks him up and body slams him on the floor. So that ends that right then and there. He rolled Spud in the ring, and apparently, EC3 is watching Glorious Bastards recently, because he wants to scalp Rockstar Spud in the center of the ring. So he says, let the scalping begin. So he pulls out the barber shears, and JB's like, you know what, no, you're not doing this. Obviously, JB has a nice little kinship with Rockstar Spud that hosts a lot of the online shows and everything. So obviously, he doesn't want his friend to get obliterated right here and now. So, yeah, we basically have that, and EC3 is like, you know what, don't get in the way, and he kind of shoves him away, and he's like, you know what, stand down, JB, stand down. What does JB do? Well, he does something that is missed by the cameraman, because obviously this team is like not on their game tonight, and slaps the taste out of Ethan Carter III's mouth. So Tyrus grabs him, I'm going to kill you now. And he avalanches him in the corner, and Spud grabs, he gets grabbed to watch as EC3 shaves Jeremy Borash's head. It's basically like a stripe up his head. Spud covers Borash trying to save his friend, and that's the end of that segment. I like this. I like this a lot, actually. It should be interesting to see where we go with this. Is Jeremy Borash going to get an actual wrestling match? I don't know if he's trained. I'm sure he probably is. But, I mean, I was an announcer. I was a manager, too, and I'm trained, so who knows what you have to look at that. It's anyone's guess where they're going to go with this. I think JB needs to bring someone back. Obviously, the right answer would have been Eric Young, but not now. I think we're going to get some sort of a match with this. EC3 and Tyrus against JB and Rockstar Spud, I think, happens on the UK tour. I'm almost positive that's going to be something we go. And I know it doesn't happen before then because, obviously, these shows have been already taped. So, I think that's what we're building towards. It's going to be on UK soil. It makes perfect sense. It's where British Boot Camp happened, where Rockstar Spud won originally. I would think that it's a perfect idea to do Jeremy Borash and Rockstar Spud against Ethan Carter III and Tyrus in a match. Regardless of what it is, I think that it does happen on the UK tour, and I think it needs to happen on the UK tour. And I think there's a possibility that if they do that and it works, maybe JB and EC3 can have a singles match. Obviously, you have to gimmick the heck out of it, but still, they could have a singles match, like a street fight. That would work because JB could fight that way, and he doesn't have to wrestle, so that actually works pretty well. So in the back, Kenny King is working MVP up, and he basically says, you know what, I'm fed up with everything and everyone. It's time to get back to our roots. Interesting. So we got a video package of Rude versus Lashley 2, where Rude took the TNA Championship back, and great match there. So we get our next match of the evening. It is Austin Aries trying to take the X Division Championship from Low Key. This match was really good. I enjoy these two in the ring immensely. So we go to the finish here, and there's a superplex. It's blocked. Round kick knocks Low Key off, and Aries with a drop kick crotches Low Key, hits the discus elbow, and the brain buster off the buckle gets the 3, and Austin Aries is once again the new X Division champion. And I have no problem with this. I think it works quite well. If you're going to flip-flop the X Division Championship, I don't have an issue with it as long as there's a point. In the end, I think there's going to be a point. And obviously, we're going to get an Austin Aries low-key feud out of this. And that has... I'll sign up right now. I'm totally in. Knockouts Championship is not on the line in a singles match. It is on the line in a Battle Royal. Take every single knockout on the roster and put them in a Battle Royal. You have Velvet Sky and Angelina Love of the Beautiful People. You have Rebel. You have Madison Rayne, who recently re-signed. You have Havoc. You have Gil Kim. And you have, of course, the Knockouts champion, Taryn Terrell. But, of course, this starts out with DJ Z bringing out Robbie E and bringing him back to the show. Obviously, Robbie E and Brooke Adams have been away doing The Amazing Race, and now they're back. They're both going to be back on television. So, of course, before this started, they had a storyline going on with the Bromans and the Beautiful People, and they're all basically getting together. So, Robbie E's back, and he hugs Velvet Sky, and storyline, you really want to bring Bully Ray back at this point. God, I wish Bully Ray would come back to TNA. I didn't win $1 million, but I still look like $1 million. He blames Brooke for the loss, calls her out, says, you know what, my ex is the person that cost us the victory. Here comes Taryn, so we actually get this match to start. Rebel goes out courtesy of the Botox injection from Angelina, and Havoc ends up tossing Madison Rayne. She's gone. Velvet gets eat defeat from Gail. Jesse on the ring apron for a distraction, and Taryn tosses Angelina. So Gail and Taryn shotgun dropkick to Havoc, and Brooke attacks from the crowd. Robbie E starts beating him down. So Brooke makes a return to Impact that way. So Gail and Taryn both dropkick Velvet, and Gail and Havoc are both eliminated. So Taryn ends up getting nailed by Havoc. Taryn gets tossed around like a rag doll, and it eventually goes down to a double goozle, toss down, stomps, bear hug, a spine buster, the lights go out. Taryn won the Knockouts title by Battle Royal, by the way. Lights go out, lights come back on. Awesome Kong's in the ring. Stare down with Havoc. Yes, please. Havoc and Kong haven't seen this for a long time. Kong back in TNA where she belongs. I have zero issue with this. I'm very happy with it, honestly. So Havoc bombs out, and of course, Kong has to choke slam Stifler, because Stifler's there. And we get the return of Awesome Kong. I love this. I love this so much. Kong back to TNA where she belongs. Should be really good. Kong and Havoc feud. Definitely sign me up for it. Something I've been wanting to see. A dream match. Jessica Havoc and Amazing Kong in the Indies. Something I've been wanting to see for a long time. Excuse me. Now I don't have to worry about trying to find a rec center, or to find a bingo hall, or to find like a fairground. No, I'm actually going to see this on Impact, and apparently it's going to happen on Lockdown, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing that. It's made official the match for next week. It is the Hardys against the Wolves, and it's not really called a number one contenders match, but it very well could be. So obviously the Revolution are going to have a something to say involved in this match. So we get our main event. It's Bobby Lashley, Bobby Roode, 3 for the TNA World Heavyweight Championships. So, at one point, MVP shows up with 2 guys that look like they just came out of the Purge, and they're trying to get in the building. Security basically gets bum rushed by them. So they get in the building, obviously. So you pick it up midway through the match, and it's to the point that they start trading finishers. Alright? Lashley hits Roode with a Roode bomb, and Roode spears Lashley, both near falls. So MVP, Kenny King, and the 2 Purgers come out. The Roode bomb is countered into a stack-up pin, 1-2, and a kick-out. This gets countered into the crossface. Lashley may have to tap. He might have to give it up. He gets caught with the Roode bomb, and he gets a 2.5 off of it. He locks in the crossface, and hard way, his mouth is bleeding, so he's in the crossface. You have the visual of the mouth busted wide open. Looks awesome, by the way. They pull the ref. Kenny King nails Brian Hebner. Kurt Angle comes down, and he gets mugged by these guys. Bobby Roode is temporarily distracted, and the masked men reveal themselves as Samoa Joe and Low Ki. Interesting. Eric Young comes down with a chair. Finally, the odds are in the favor of the former Team Canada. What does he do? He pops Bobby Roode right in the head. EY tosses the ref in the ring, and of course, Roode is decimated by the MDK, the murder, death, kill, and he gets the 3 count, with Lashley regaining the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. MVP, Samoa Joe, Low Ki, Eric Young, and Bobby Lashley all celebrate, but Lashley's kind of disconnected. He's like, I don't really know what to think. And this new group celebrates as Lashley just kind of walks away. Only person missing from this group's Homicide, because I think he actually fits. So what happened here? Well, first off, you have a really good main event. Pay-per-view style main event. Very enjoyable. I liked it. A lot of run-ins. I know people have a lot of problems with TNA just using run-ins as a crutch. Not necessarily. I think it's fine. I think it was fine for what it was. It was a good show. When the 2 guys came out, I didn't know exactly who to expect. There was a lot of rumors about different people showing up on the show. Alberto El Patron showing up on the show. I heard that was a possibility. Kong showing up was awesome. Welcome addition to the Knockouts division. When the Masked Men came out, I didn't know who to expect, but Joe and Low Ki revealing themselves, interesting. Very interesting. And now it makes sense that Low Ki lost the X Division Championship, because obviously he can just bully his way back to getting it back. No spoilers or anything. So, this works. Eric Young comes out to save his best friend, and of course he turns on him. So, that's going to be fun. We get a feud between Eric Young and Bobby Roode with the tables turned for a change, with Eric Young being the heel. Being one of the most over baby faces in TNA company history and going heel. That's interesting. It's very interesting how they did that. Obviously, they're going to have to bring in some more talent, because obviously you have Lashley, who's kind of on the outside looking in. He's kind of just staring down both groups. You have MVP, you have Kenny King, you have Samoa Joe, you have Low-Ki, and you have Eric Young. And then you have people like Kurt Angle and Austin Aries, and who knows if they're going to be able to recruit Lashley or not. Who knows who else they're going to bring in. Maybe Gunner, possibly. And Gunner's not on this show at all, but I mean, who knows? Maybe. Possibly Matt Hardy. Who knows what they're going to do with this. But it should be interesting to see where we go from here. Because obviously I think Matt Hardy would be a good induction to this, because Matt Hardy and MVP have had such a storied feud in both WWE and TNA. So I would think that and the TNA feud kind of got snuffed out before it got started. So I would think that Matt Hardy will be a part of this group. In not necessarily a group that's together all the time, just basically a common bond to get rid of MVP and his new goons. So yeah, I'm really curious to see where we go with this. Eric Young going heel, interesting, very interesting. Time to bring back Scott D'Amore for a one-shot. I think Scott D'Amore needs to play the mediator here between Bobby Roode and Eric Young and try to get them back on the same page. I think that would be an awesome idea, with D'Amore in Bobby Roode's corner against Eric Young. We'll, of course, have MVP in his corner. I think that's a great storyline that they need to play up, and I hope they do. I don't know if they will, but I think it's something they do need to do. Impact this week I very much enjoyed. I like the spastic nature and the total chaos nature of the opening of the show, with everybody, and I do mean everybody, male and female, all brawling throughout the building. I thought that was awesome. It worked really well. Faces hitting faces, heels hitting heels, and of course faces and heels fighting each other. It made perfect sense. They fought throughout the building, they fought in the balcony, they fought out throughout the crowd. I did not mind the dark atmosphere. It kind of reminded me of a house show. I thought that worked quite well. Crowd was into it for what they were, and for all the backstage issues they had with all the problems with the equipment, like the lighting and sound equipment and all the electronic equipment period in the building, I think they worked quite well. They covered it up pretty well in the show. I really liked the tag match. I think Storm and Abyss against the Wolves was really good. I very much enjoyed that. I thought that was fun. MVP and Kurt Angle having a fight, that worked pretty well. It wasn't a wrestling match, it was a straight fight, but it became a wrestling match, and that worked well for me, actually. It seemed like it might have been out of place, but not really, if you really look at it. I like what they're doing with Jeremy Borash, Rockstar Spud, and EC3 and Tyrus. I think that's going to work quite well in the long run. Obviously, the Revolution, the Hardys, and the Wolves, they're going to need to collide. I'm guessing TLC or Full Metal Mayhem, because it's not WWE. It's a Full Metal Mayhem for these three teams somewhere down the line. I think that's going to be awesome, winner take all. I think that Austin Aries and Low-Ki, a great match. They've had better ones, but it was a good match for what it was, with Aries winning the championship. Now Low-Ki being a part of MVP's group, I think that he may get the title back sooner rather than later. Taryn has to defend the Knockouts Championship against everyone in a Battle Royal and ends up winning, but she ends up becoming the footnote as the return of Awesome Kong comes out after Havoc brutalizes Taryn Terrell, and this brings Kong out, and of course we get our tremendous stare down between the two. That's going to be really fun. I'm very much looking forward to that. Bobby Roode and Lashley, good main event. Very awesome back and forth matchup. I love back and forth matches. They work quite well. And where we're going to go from here with MVP, Low-Ki, Samoa Joe, and Kenny King. And where does Eric Young fit in this? Is he part of the group? Is he just an outsider just trying to get on Bobby Roode? Anything's possible. And who is going to join Bobby Roode in the coalition and try to take down MVP? Obviously, Kurt Angle's going to be a part of this. Is Lashley going to be trusted enough to do this? Will he go babyface? It's possible. I think it could happen. Maybe Gunner, possibly. I don't know. Who knows what they're going to do with Gunner? Matt Hardy works perfectly, actually. I think that'd be a good idea. Because Jeff's not going to make the UK tour, as you're going to see next week. Well, that you're going to see at Lockdown, so but we're not talking about that. I don't talk about TNA stuff until it happens on television, even though it's already been taped weeks and months in advance. So, TNA, this Friday night, Destination America, 9 p.m. Check it out on your Destination America channel, unless you don't have it. And if you don't have it, watch it online. TNA really starting to get on their game again, so We have a no disqualification match, Eric Young and Bobby Roode. You're also going to see the Hardys and the Wolves one more time in a tag team match, as well as Austin Aries defending the X Division Championship against Low Ki in a rematch. That should be really good. You're going to see a tag team match. You're going to see the beautiful people of Velvet Sky and Angelina Love taking on the team of Brooke and Taryn Terrell. Obviously, Brooke and Taryn getting together as a common bond to get rid of the beautiful people. Brooke, of course, having the heat with Robbie E., her ex-boyfriend, and of course that's going to build to the match with the beautiful people, which of course are now hanging all over the bromance. So that's what we've got here, and we're going to get some sort of an explanation why MVP put his group together with Kenny King and Samoa Joe and Low Ki and possibly Showtime Eric Young. So I'm very curious to see where we go with this. TNA is getting fun again. NXT was really fun. So yeah, this was a good day, good wrestling video. I enjoyed them both. So, as always, if you like these videos, tell your friends about them. Leave a comment, do subscribe, help spread the word about Pop. If you haven't yet, go to Facebook, click like on our Facebook fan page, it's Sir Owen Disney Pop. Follow me on Twitter at Sir Owen Disney. Friend request me via Facebook at Owen Disney. And if you'd like to send me an email, we can talk TNA or NXT, or we can talk about Halloween Horror Nights, Universal, Disney. We can talk about movies since it is award season after all, and we are 2 days away from the Oscar nominations. Or if you'd like to become a Popcast yourself, or if you'd like to give us ideas for Sip and Snack, or Versus, or the Vlog of Randomness, you're more than welcome to send me an email, sirowendisney@gmail.com. Wrestling fans, I'll join you next week for the new scheduled day of TNA and NXT. We're going to talk Impact and NXT every Tuesday here on Pop. And of course, tomorrow, the Vlog of Randomness. You know what? I might show you guys my Disney pins. How's that sound? Sounds good to me. Thursday, we're going to do a Sip and Snack. AJ returns to Sip and Snack basically because he's kind of forced to be here because it is Oscar nomination day and Critics' Choice Awards day. So, since he's going to be here, we're going to do a Lay's barbecue chips comparison. Friday, AJ's movie reviews, and this is going to be a doozy, folks. American Sniper, Paddington, Inherent Vice, Black Hat and the Wedding Ringer, and coming next week, Cake and a Most Violent Year, as well as Mordecai and The Boy Next Door. And possibly Strange Magic, don't know yet. Saturday, Gaming with Ash will be returning, and Sunday, brand new Versus. Should be fun, as always. Monday, we'll kick you back into Celebrity Apprentice, and of course, Tuesday, right back here for more NXT and Impact. So that being said, thank you guys and girls out there for watching, and until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I gotta say about that.